Hello, and welcome back to my ongoing series on patching the PolyKrell, a large polyphonic patch that is both generative, multi-timbral, explores a number of different scales, and is loosely based on Todd Barton's original Krell patch. We're up to about episode 26 now, so we've covered a lot of ground. Back in episode 1, we started with the basic Todd Barton style Krell patch running on maths, and we did a number of experiments showing how we could change the depth and rates of its modulations to create all kinds of different outputs. We then moved our Krells onto the IntelliGel Quadrax, and that enabled us to add in a number of different voices. So using 3 modulating LFOs, we've been able to modulate 5 separate simultaneous Krell function generators running, and those are controlling 9 voices of polyphony. We worked on setting up the voice patching for the lead voice, using wave folders and filters. We added a bass voice, running a Doepfer A142 decay gate in order to control how it grabs notes from its sample and hold. We added in a counterpart voice that uses an IntelliGel plug logic to choose when and if it grabs new pitches from its sample and hold. And we added in 2 polyphonic telharmonic poly voices that also get their pitches from the same series of nested sample and holds that drives the whole patch, with those series of scalar notes coming from our original IntelliGel U-scale quantizer that we've been running scales out of, including changing those scale types as the patch progressed. And then we kicked it up a notch by introducing the Doepfer Ribbon controller that output a single modulatable control voltage that we used to modulate over 20 destinations throughout the patch in order to give us the ability to perform various aspects of the patch and have it change scales, change Krell speeds, Krell shapes, change filter types, change reverb types and tone, all the way throughout the whole patch so that we could begin to create a finished, moving, unique musical work. And now we're about to take another step up, and this is going to use up a whole bunch more cables and mults as we unfold the next level in the PolyKrell patch. So what I've been doing in the background is I've unpatched the original Doepfer Ribbon controller that I was using for the form voltage, and now what I'm doing is I'm running background sequences that are going to change and step their way through time, modulating a whole bunch of the parameters we were previously modulating with the one form voltage, but now modulating those parameters and more with multiple form voltages that spread out all over the place, all over the patch. And this ends up being a lot of work to get set up. So just to get started, to give you a sense of how I've got this running, I'm just going to take you through what all those sequences are and how it is that they're advancing before we take a look at exactly what they're doing to each of the voices that they are modulating. And then coming up later in this series of videos, I've got a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of an Easter egg, that I've had waiting in the wings, patched up and ready to go, but we haven't seen or heard it yet. So that big reveal is on its way. So you can all take turns at trying to guess what on earth that could be. If you've watched any of my videos in the last couple of months, it'll be obvious what it is that I've got coming. So let's start with the master clock that is stepping these sequences forward. So if we take a look, I'm just using a simple sine LFO from a PS3100 triple Vactal resonator, and it just happens to give us a sine wave, an LFO sine wave out or tryout that can run very, very slow and gives me really good response in terms of its timing. And so then that knob sends out that very, very slow moving LFO. We can see how slow it's going by watching those 3 LEDs I've got cranked up to watch it modulating the filters. We're not using the filters. I'm just using that LFO as my master clock. And then it is headed off screen, and I'll show you where it's going and what it's doing. So the LFO from our master clock coming from the PS3100 filter is sent all the way over here to a Lattic comparator that I'm using to obtain a usable square wave gate style clock signal. And that clock, you can see it when the comparator lights up right there. That clock then goes to the old school Doepfer A160 clock divider, and then its outputs are what drive the sequencers all over the system. And you can see I've got a reset coming in as well, because I've got all the sequencers patched up so that they will all reset once they get past once they get through the 8th stage. And that becomes important because I've got voltages going all over the place, and I want to be able to determine what voltages are controlling what and make sure that they all line up. So when we come out of that clock divider, then we go over to a bunch of our different sequencers. So let's take a look at those. Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope that you've enjoyed this series so far, and I'll see you next time.